Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I am not home, I'm traveling, so this is going to be my new setting, and obviously I will alternate it as I'm going to visit places and meet people. So what's going on here? I got three subjects, three topics. One, the Ukrainians claim they destroyed the latest Russian warship in the Black Sea, the latest, with caliber cruise missiles. That's the first topic. The other one has to do with Yellen. Yellen is the U.S. Treasury Secretary, Zelensky Stein, and Yellen Stein says that she's going to use Russia's assets in she's going to try to use Russia's assets to give loans to Ukraine. That means looting, basically. You take someone else's property or money, and you probably from the interest earned on those how do you call it, assets, Russian assets. These guys plan on giving to Ukraine as loans. Who's gonna get the money if it's a loan? All right, so and that's the second one, and let me see the third one here. Yeah, the third one is Russia accuses, which is Zakharova, accuses, I think, for good reason, the United States of America and France of allowing the Ukrainians to use their weapons to hit inside Russia. They can use probably Patriot systems, HIMARS, maybe some Scalp missiles, those are the French missiles, to hit inside Russia proper. And I will show you a map where all these things occurred. So, let's start with the first article. And the first article that I have here ready is the one that comes from Business Insider. 1, 2, 3, PPP. All right, here it is. And it says, Ukraine says it may have destroyed Russia's last cruise missile carrier based out of Crimea. Well, wasn't that not a long time ago, maybe a few days ago, when they claimed that actually Russia has no more vessels in the Crimean Peninsula since they moved them somewhere else? Well, you know, people. So let's see what these guys are saying. Let me put my goggles on. Ukraine's Navy is trying to verify, and I have the verification according to Ukrainians, whether it destroyed the Cyclone, a Russian missile carrier. If confirmed, it would mean Russia has no more missile carriers in Crimea, a naval spokesperson said. I read another article claiming that the Russians have about nine more caliber cruise missiles carriers in the Black Sea. But anyway, they say here in Crimea. Maybe it's in Novorossiysk. Is that where they moved east a little bit? I will show you where they moved the fleet. So let's go back to this article and read further. Details of the claimed strike and its exact casualties are still emerging. Ukraine's Navy claims it has likely destroyed the last of Russia's cruise missile carrier operating out of the crucial Black Sea Peninsula of Crimea, which is right here. So the Crimean Peninsula is this right here. Sevastopol is in the south, right? Right. Okay, so this is Sevastopol. They said, well, we destroyed it in Sevastopol. I thought they were not, I mean in Crimean Peninsula, I'm sorry. So this is Crimean Peninsula, and they said that Novorossiysk is where they moved their fleet. They claimed there's no more in Sevastopol. It's right here. So this is where they said somewhere around here that vessel was hit. So let's read further, because now they have the confirmation as well. It says it in remarks made to the Radio Free Europe, can be trusted as the weather man or woman. Ukraine's Navy spokesperson Dmitry Pletenchuk said the Navy was currently trying to verify whether or not it had destroyed a small missile carrier Cyclone on Saturday. If confirmed, it would mean there is no longer a Russian missile carrier based out of the K Peninsula, he told it. So let's see. Next article. It's from Metro, right? And it says Putin's latest war toy has already been hit and obliterated by a missile. So this right here, if this is true, that's a big achievement. That's a big achievement, I would say, right there. Number 633. a warship of Russian Black Sea Fleet carrying caliber missiles was destroyed in occupied Crimea in a major blow to Vladimir Putin. It has been claimed. Cyclone, a Karakurt class corvette worth at least 26 million pounds. They're nothing. This guy sent billions, so there's nothing. Was one of the newest vessels reportedly deployed for the first time in summer of 2023. Well, that's a big achievement. Next article, which says, Ukrinform, there is, Ukraine confirms Russian missile carrier hit in Crimea. That one right over there. But hey, this is according to Ukraine. The General Staff of Ukraine Armed Forces has confirmed earlier reports that the May 19 strike destroyed Russian Black Sea Fleet's missile carrier Cyclone that was based in a temporary occupied Crimea. So let's see what else these guys give us. Sevastopol. So Cyclone missile carrier in a temporary occupied Crimea base of Sevastopol. So they say it was destroyed right here. So that is right here. They said there's no more vessels. They all ran away to Novorossiysk. Okay, whatever. These guys are lying, right? It says here, as per tentative reports, the ship likely sank. 6 crew were killed and at least 11 were wounded. Indeed, if that is true, what kind of missiles they used, and not that really, I mean, it should concern the Russians, because if it's a missile they can hit your newest vessel, that means that you are in deep doo-doo. That means next and next and next. Remember, at one point it was the Americans, yeah, I think they said they will build another airplane carrier, and the Russians says, well, okay, you build that, we're going to need one missile to destroy it, to sink it. So you make it big so we can see it. The same here. I mean, if you have 9 more vessels over there with caliber cruise missiles, there's 9 missiles. That's 9 seconds. All right, let's go to the next article, which is with this garbage, which is not that. I'm sorry, Maria, not that one. This garbage, this fucking owl, whatever she is, right there. Anyway, she is in charge of the Treasury of the United States of America, as Stein is in charge of our foreign policy, right? And then as Tubbs is in charge of the British Defense Ministry, the Prime Minister of France is in charge of, I don't know, internal stuff, I guess. And we have many of these. And Ukraine is also grabbed by this group of good people. All right, unlike you and I. I can say how you are, but I know how I am. I think. So let's see what this garbage has to say. Secretary Garbage, Ukraine can receive $50 billion in loans. You say, okay, well, good, in loans. Who's going to pay back? The Russians? Because remember, I don't know how it exactly works, but let's say the Russians, start managing Ukraine. Let's put it mildly. All right, so let's say they push these guys out. These guys run with the tail between their legs, flying away. And then all these loans that were given to the government, legitimate government of Ukraine. That means when the Russians take over, that means the new Ukraine that the Russians will try to reconstruct will have to pay the loans back because it was agreed by then Zelensky-Stein's government. That means these guys are impoverishing the future Ukraine anyway. Even if the Ukrainians, let's say, push the Russians back, or whatever, NATO pushes the Russians back, who's going to pay those loans? Who's going to reconstruct it? Who's going to be appointed? Who's going to win the bids for those contracts? Oh, we already know. The ones who are, Anyway, so let's go back to this garbage here. My God, look at her. Just listen to her. Just listen. Don't trust me. Don't believe me, man. Don't believe anybody. Don't believe. Trust is built, right? Trust is built with consistently telling the truth. Don't believe me if you didn't listen to me or you caught me lying or anything, which you didn't, because I never lied here. Okay, so yeah, in life people lie. Of course I lied as a kid, all right? But here, never lied. I'm sure nobody caught me with anything like that. Why? Because I didn't do it. No, what's going on here? So listen to that individual over there. Listen to her and see how look and listen to how she formulates the idea, how she verbalizes it, her mental process, the way she processes the information, and she make a synthesis, or they make a I don't know, a focus on something. They come with a conclusion. That's garbage. She's just like, I don't know. It's just that she's part of a certain group that she's over there. I don't know, but she's not the sharpest tool in the toolbox. Let's put it this way. Very dull. She is pushing for an agreement to use the interest gained from the assets to fund Ukraine's recovery from the Russians. The total can amount to $50 billion, she said, adding that they would only be provided in the form of loans. Yellen initially insisted on the complete confiscation of Russian assets. Yeah, because look at the Old Testament. It works like that. Mostly euro-denominated, but her proposal faced opposition from EU officials on the grounds that such actions could pose a systemic risk to the single European currency. Russians will smack them back. They already, the Russians, or one Russian court, to be more precise, froze Deutsche Bank's assets, about $400 million, half a billion almost, in a suit that they had. They went to court, a project that they backed off. So then they froze those. And there were about 7 other Western banks that were sanctioned, and their assets were frozen. I made a video on that. Go and check it out if you want details, or do your own research, and good luck. All right, next one. What's going on? I understand that today the European Union took the final step to approving a plan by which windfall profits earned on Russian assets in Europe will be directed to Ukraine. Okay. The idiot said. The plan will accelerate this flow of interest proceeds from assets that do not belong to Russia, she said. The Russian assets are no longer interest-bearing, she said, but they are gathering returns in Euroclear, which could be given to Ukraine, and that would be repaid for itself by the flow of interest in a few years. Okay, good luck. The USA and the European Union were jointly considering legal authority. They give themselves authority to direct $300 billion in Russian assets to Ukraine's reconstruction and other needs, the imbecile said. Next one. And now we have beautiful Maria Zakharova from the Business Insider. Russia accuses Ukraine of using US and French missiles in an attack on one of its border regions. There she is. All right. So, and I'm going to read further that. I'm going to show you what border region these guys attacked. My question is, so what? So what, Russia? You don't like it? What are you going to do about it? Huh? Are you going to do anything about it? If not, shut up. All right? If you're going to do something, I want to hear. So, what can you do? I told you from the very beginning, when those guys sent the first bullet as military aid to Ukraine, that would have been considered, in my world, a declaration of war. Right there, because you're not giving me any bullets unless they come with high speed rotating towards me. Right? So you help them, you're my enemy right there, declaration of war. Fuck it, here's my finger, not only this one, but more than one. I'm gonna play a little bit of piano right here for you guys and see how you like that, if you know what I mean. I think they would have backed these guys up in a second, and the bankers, international banking owners of us somehow, and they should depend on us, but somehow we depend on them. It's unbelievable how they twisted things. It's a new world of negation, or how the opposition, or the north is south, war is peace, peace is war, good is evil, evil is good. All right, that's why I'm here, to tell you, sometimes point out this kind of garbage. Yellen was the director of the Federal Reserve Bank, a private bank owned again by Greenspan and Bernanke, Greenspan, Yellen. Go and check them out. Wikipedia is right there. You don't like it? Well, what can I say? That's the truth. Truth upsets you? Tell me how many Romanians for instance, or whatever country are you in, or nationality, let's say Taiwanese. Tell me how many Taiwanese Americans were the directors of the Federal Reserve Bank, or Secretary of State, or Defense Minister, or I don't know, what's the other one that these guys have? Secretary of State, as I said, President, Vice President, or Chief of Staff. The Chief of Staff is the same thing. The same thing. Just a coincidence. Don't connect any fucking dots, all right? Because if you connect that, you're a brave person. Let's move on. There she is. Good job. Vakarova Zakharova. Russia claims Ukraine fired Western-supplied missiles into its region of Belgorod. The White House said the claim is Russia propaganda because the White House didn't say we will not send tanks to Ukraine. They also did not say we will not send Patriot systems to Ukraine, because they didn't say we will not send long-range missile systems to Ukraine like HIMARS. And no, they didn't say we will not send F-16s to Ukraine, and they didn't say we will not send troops on the ground in Ukraine. So which one should I fucking believe? None, but these guys have a big list of lies. And they tell me, it's Russia propaganda. You are at negative 3,429. Negative, you're not at zero credibility, you're a negative. You have to dig yourself up, you climb back where you will never climb back. Unless it's going to be some big, not here, but over there, things are going to be garbage as they are. We're going to vote, they will count the vote, and who needs to win will win. All right, let's move on to Zakharova here. Some Western countries are signaling they may be more open to their weapons being used on Russian soil. Yes, they are. And my issue is this. What are you going to do, Russia? I mean, it's like someone says, I'm going to come and punch you in the face. What are you going to do? Well, I tell you, if you come here, if I can, I'm going to eat you up. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so let's move on here. Russia has claimed that Ukraine used French and US supplied missiles in an attack on one of regions. Russia's Ministry of Defense said on Saturday that it has repelled an attack on the border region of Belgorod by 4 French-made Hammer missiles, not Scalp, and 2 US-made HARM anti-radar missiles. Its foreign ministry also claimed that Russian forces had earlier shot down multiple Western weapons and said that British Storm Shadow cruise missiles and Czech Vampire rockets also featured in the attack. While it did not specify where the weapon was fired, it said that the Western nations now, and I'm quoting, authorized the use against Russia. Yeah, and that they were playing with fire. Blah, blah, blee, blee, blue, blee, blee, blue. All right, so let's see where Belgorod is. Now this is Crimea, we left there. Belgorod is right here, in here. This is Belgorod. So, that vessel, according to Ukrainians, was sank. Some people died over there. Right? Then you got the Yellen Stein telling us that she is gonna take the money of another country and give it to some other country as a loan with interest. And the other one is the Russians say these guys are attacking our territory. Yes, I said this many, many times before, and I will keep saying, all these things were already determined, planned and determined, accepted before even this war started. I guarantee you that. Why? These guys have plans for action for different operations. They're over there. They just take them out. All right, where something developed on how should I put it? Suddenly. Right? Oh my God, the war in Ukraine. Wow, it caught us by surprise. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Why? There were some people who were pushing, and the other one said, back off, back off, back off. Okay, I'm against the war. Now I'm going to punch left and right. And they, unfortunately, the Russians, I would say, because, why do I say unfortunately? But let me finish that one. Do you let me finish that one? Take that. Okay, it was an AK-47 against me right here. No, it's just that these guys knew exactly what they were doing. These guys knew exactly what they were doing. And I said this before, the Russians fight right here instead of fighting right over there. Why? Now they're going to fight over there after 2.5 years with almost 1 million people dead and refugees. This could have been stopped, and it would have been stopped in April, May 2022. I guarantee you. If the Russians will say, you do this, we everything up. And if the guys would say, oh, that's a bluff, I would just drop somewhere in the something in a what's going on here, baby? In a field somewhere in Ukraine. And say, okay, that's the test. Stop, take your motherfucking things out of Ukraine, otherwise it's going to be more. Like the Americans did in the Second World War with the Japanese. But the Americans hit civilians. They destroyed, blew up 2 towns, 2 cities. And then they said, if you don't surrender, unconditional surrender, and that means pants down, bent over, and ready, okay? How much I want, how deep, how long, where, and okay, all that, right? That's unconditional surrender. Then we're going to go to the next one. Next city. I think Yokohama was the next one. And then we're going to go to the next one, and then we're going to go to the next one. And isn't that called genocide? No, because that shortened the war, we were told, and our boys' life. Okay, let's say Putin has the same reasoning. Well, if I drop a few over there, let's say in London, Paris, and I don't know, Berlin, we'll shorten the war definitely. And we'll save our lives too. Why? Because the other ones, what, do you think that the guys will react? They know everything is going to be blown up. They would have stopped right there. I guarantee you that. Do you think those bankers and the guys with big interests, do you think they care for Ukraine and for the Russians? When Putin, let's say, threatens them, I'm going to destroy this planet if you don't back off, and I'm going to give you a hint, and if you don't, I'm going to start the first one. These guys would have backed off right there. What do you think, they want to die? I mean, they worked hard for this. They have dynasties. Do you think the Clintons want the ugly motherfucker Chelsea not to become president one day? They will pull their strings in a second to stop that. Stop everybody. We can't do this. And everybody else, they have their idiot children waiting to become the new generation of our masters. What do you think? Putin doesn't have. These guys have. These guys work hard. I mean, it's like you become the president of a company or the owner of a company, and all of a sudden someone says, well, if you don't back off my wife, I'm going to just destroy your company. But fuck, take your wife back. God damn it, she was not good anyway. Right? Wouldn't you do that? Or say, yeah, do that, and the guy destroys everybody. I work hard for this, right? Like Scarface said in Al Pacino in Scarface when he sits in that bathtub. I work hard for this. Who do I trust? Me. Who do I me? And the same here. These guys worked hard. These generations. These guys did not work on 20 years, 5 years. These guys are generations. The banking system, the monarchies, the interest behind, the families behind these things. They're not like, oh, that's 5 years ago. This is not even this piece of top of the nail of my whole body. All right, my friends, here it is. The Russians, I think they should have been serious from the very beginning, but I don't think they're serious in stopping this war. Oh, they can stop by stopping fighting the Ukrainians. First, it's not about the Ukrainians here, it's about those financial interests. That's the main thing. And the resources of China, which are used by resources of Russia that are used by China to outcompete our lazy fucking whatever. Okay? That's what it is. Why do you think these guys impose sanctions, make the Europeans impose sanctions on better products? So they can come and have an open market for themselves. Otherwise, their guys are not going to sink. What do they provide? Services? That kind of services. That's all they do. Mostly. They ban the Chinese whenever the Chinese come with... I'm not for China, but why don't you start innovating? Why don't you start working again? Instead of just shooting everybody's, blowing up everybody's businesses so you remain with your business intact. Like after the Second World War. Remember that one? Yeah. And then, I'm not going to go into that one, but one of the big reasons why it was the Marshall Plan, which was a takeover of Germany. Yeah, we helped them. No, it was a takeover. And then what? Those guys grew up a little bit economically, and what happened after that? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.